What if the reality we're experiencing isn't true reality at all? What if when you meditated and visualized, you weren't using your imagination? What if you were actually accessing some higher level of reality? What if these other aspects of reality that we can't see, feel, or touch are influencing us all the time, and that we can use them to help us solve our biggest challenges? According to universal spiritual laws, this is all true. How many different levels or layers of reality are there? There's 7, and they are called the 7 planes of existence. What we're going to be discussing in this episode is all about the 7 planes of existence and how you can use them to heal, get your biggest questions answered. And if you are a coach, healer, or a facilitator, it'll give you one fundamental map to understand the laws of the universe, all the various practices, all the various entities that we have access to, and it will give you one cohesive, comprehensive guide on how to approach helping other people and helping yourself. When I learned about the concept, it was such a great breakthrough for me because, when we talk about spirituality, people talk about spirit guides, angels, demons, ghosts, plant medicine, ayahuasca. And so there's all these different, seemingly disparate layers of consciousness that don't seem to go together or don't seem to be cohesive. And the 7 planes of existence concept is this one overarching map that allowed me to place all those different aspects, different entities, different modalities into one framework where it all makes sense. And to clarify, when we talk about planes of existence, we're not talking about dimensions. We're not talking about timelines. We are talking about the way the universe as a whole is built from this reality and then these higher planes of existence getting into the spiritual plane. So it brings all of them together. This is not my concept. I learned this through my work with theta healing. There's actually a book called 7 Planes of Existence if you want to get into nitty-gritty detail on all of this. But my goal is for you to come away understanding the basics and feel confident that you can apply this with your practice. Okay, each plane of existence has its own rules, its own form of energy, and has its own consciousness that are interacting with us and we can interact with. They all have different lessons as well and different ways that they can heal. We are constantly interacting with them, even if we don't know it. And so this can allow the unconscious, when you have a dream and you feel like an ancestor or someone who passed away is speaking to you, or maybe you read something in a scripture or a religious text and something really hits you, or maybe you have some connection to one of the ascended masters like Jesus, and that really speaks to you. This can help you understand how to apply that and how to understand where it's coming from. The thing that I like about this, if you are a coach or a healer, is it allows you to work with people beyond just mindset or habits. It can give you more confidence in the spiritual aspect of healing without needing to be a spiritual coach. If you feel like you have a relationship with your higher power, but don't know how to help other people use it or access it beyond just telling them to pray or meditate, this can give you more specific guidance on how to help them work through their challenges. Okay, the 7 planes of existence, just a brief overview. There's 7 planes, there's lower planes, and there's higher planes. So the first plane of existence are the non-organic materials, salts, crystals, the soil, the earth itself, rocks, all the inorganic compounds of the earth. That's the first plane of existence. The second plane of existence are the plants that need minerals, nitrogen, and oxygen to sprout and grow. So the second plane of existence are plants and trees, many vitamins, herbs, and roots. if you heal with supplements, and I'll get more into this in a sec, that is healing from the second plane of existence. Now, the third plane of existence, that's the level of reality that we live in here as humans. That's the animals and humans. So if you are reading a book that was written by a human, if you're going to a doctor's office and you have a dentist that's giving you a root canal and they're using tools, that's all third plane of existence. Then we get to the higher planes of existence, starting with the fourth plane, which is where we have our spirit guides. This is where we have our animal spirit guides, which is what a lot of the Native Americans believed in. This is where you connect when you actually use plant medicine like ayahuasca or mushrooms. Even though those are coming from the second plane of existence, they connect you to the fourth plane of existence. The fourth plane of existence is also where our ancestors exist. So if you communicate with your grandparents or up to 7 generations in the past in meditative states, you're connecting to the fourth plane of existence. The fifth plane of existence is where the ascended masters are. Think of Jesus, Buddha. I once connected to King Solomon, who I didn't really know what they did until I got the download, and then I learned all about him. But there's these people that come down here from a higher place that spent some time on earth, and now they're residing in that fifth plane of existence where you can still communicate with them and get guidance from them. The fifth plane of existence is also where your guardian angels are. Guardian angels are with you your whole life, and they all serve a different purpose for you. There's a whole exercise you can do where you can discover what your guardian angels are. Maybe I'll do an episode on that. The sixth plane of existence is where the laws of the universe are. The universe has these universal laws: the law of mathematics, the law of time, the law of music, the law of cause and effect, the law of reciprocity, I think. It's another way to put the law of karma. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. What you give, you get. That's the law of reciprocity. And there's many others. In fact, compassion is a law. There's the law of compassion. But these are the sixth plane of existence. And you can communicate with these laws. You can get their support. But then the seventh plane of existence, that is the energy of all that is. That is the energy of everything. The energy of infinite consciousness, that source, that loving, infinite wisdom that we all have access to. If you pray to God, let's say you use the word God or higher power, Mother Nature, or source, that's what I'm talking about. This overarching, infinite, inconceivable infinity that is underneath and within and beyond everything that exists and everything that doesn't exist. That is the seventh plane of existence. Now that you know the seven planes briefly, why is it important to know about them? If you're going to take away anything from this episode, I want you to come away understanding that all 7 planes can heal. All 7 planes can heal. You can solve your biggest health challenges, all your biggest emotional mindset challenges, insecurity. You feel like you're going to end up alone. You feel like you're not good enough. All your money challenges, all your inner obstacles, as well as your spiritual challenges, like disconnection from your purpose, not knowing why you're here, feeling like you don't belong here on this earth. All those challenges can be healed from those different planes of existence. So what I like to do is consider, okay, which plane of existence is best used to solve a particular problem? And if I have a particular problem myself or with a client and things aren't really shifting, then what additional planes of existence can we use to support this? I'm going to give you examples now. The way that the first plane of existence can heal is using crystals. Everybody has these PEMF mats, which are basically crystallized mats that put your dysregulated nervous system into a rest and digest state so that your body actually feels calm. All of our watches, those are powered by crystals. Let's say you have burnout, adrenal fatigue, balancing your minerals with more salts, electrolytes, and grounding, putting your feet on the earth, sleeping with some grounding mats so that you can get some of the electrical charge, the negative ions from the earth, or being around a waterfall where the crashing of the water on the rock creates ozone, which can put you into a relaxed state and reduce feelings of fatigue. These are all examples of the first plane of existence, the earth itself, creating healing. I'm sure you felt when you're spread too thin, super overworked, and you take a day off and go to the beach. You put your feet in the sand, you smell the salty air, you step in the water, you feel the ocean. There's something healing about the earth itself when you get into nature. That's how you can heal with the first plane of existence. Other examples are taking Epsom salt baths. You had a crazy workout or you had an injury and your bones, joints, or muscles feel super tight and fatigued. When you go and you sit in a magnesium Epsom salt bath, you're going to heal. You're going to feel better. You're going to sleep better. Think about the Wi-Fi router in your home. That gives off EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, that can be damaging to DNA. There's research on that. Crystals like tourmaline, for example, those can create more balance. It can reduce the damage that consistent Wi-Fi can cause. There's also different intentions that you can put into crystals. They hold energy. I remember when I was chronically single and really wanted to create a healthy relationship, I didn't really believe in crystals. I wasn't woo-woo at all, but just because why not? I was like, I'm going to buy a crystal that helps to bring love into my life. And I remember I bought this huge rose quartz crystal. It was maybe like 12 inches, and I put it on my bedside table. It was after that things started to feel real. Looking back, I think that crystal helped me set and hold that intention and help manifest the relationship that I have today. People put pyrite or citrine on their desk for prosperity. I don't know, lots of things you can do with crystals. I don't know too much about it. And then I also mentioned earthing, putting your feet in the dirt, in the grass, touching grass. There's something really healing about that. So that's all the first plane of existence. The second plane of existence with plants and organic elements. Let's say you're super inflamed. You've got back pain. Maybe there's something you've been eating that hasn't been settling very well. You've been living in a polluted environment. Maybe you've been having a lot of acidic foods. Turmeric is a root that is so powerful for anti-inflammation. So that's an example of healing with a supplement or an herb. If you have anxiety or you can't sleep, drinking chamomile or valerian root are really great as teas or herbs to heal. I love this place in Thousand Oaks. It's called the Healing Tree, and it's got this wall-to-wall of mason jars of different herbs and plants. And me and my wife loved going in there. This guy knows so much about herbs and Chinese medicine, and we'll be like, okay, I'm feeling fatigued, or I'm feeling like I want to detox my liver, or I'm feeling bloated. What do you have for that? And they always put together all these concoctions of roots and shrubs and herbs or whatever. It really works. Traditional Chinese medicine is a great example of a 5,000-year-old modality that really does a great job using plants and herbs to heal. Whenever I would go to my favorite acupuncturist, she would always give me some type of tea or some dried something that I was supposed to put as a compress on my body to help with certain issues. Other great examples of the second plane, I love using Palo Santo or sage to clear energy. Love doing that in my room when I feel stressed or when I feel somebody really negative, anxious, or stressful was in my space. Burning Palo Santo or sage is really powerful. Whenever I host my meditation events, at the entrance, we do this thing called a Palo Santo train where the first person holds a Palo Santo stick, and when the next person comes in, they Palo Santo them, and then that person ends up becoming the sager, and then they sage the next person. And so there's a great way for everybody gets a task, and they're also cleansing themselves as they enter. It's a cool ritual, which was conceptualized as how can we bring the second plane of existence into these meditative events. Then there's regular things that I'm sure you do already, like sitting under a tree, having a picnic, going into the redwood forest or Yosemite, just connecting with nature and being immersed in forests. Forest bathing, that's incredibly healing. I have a friend who takes inner city urban youth who struggle with violence. He takes them on these 1-week retreats where they just go into nature, and it's life-changing for them to go from this concrete jungle into the actual jungle. It's like they become different people. They open up, sometimes share things they've never shared with anybody. It's just one of the most powerful things to get surrounded by nature, that second plane of existence. How can the third plane of existence heal? I touched on it. This is when you go to your traditional therapist, when you work with a coach, like a habit coach. Any physical therapy, that's all working with humans to help you heal. When I was 8 years old, I had a hernia surgery. I'm going to talk about that in another episode. There was a person who used a scalpel and helped me to heal a hole in my intestines. Going to the chiropractor. Let's say you're in a relationship and you go to couples therapy. You have a business and you want to get better at selling. You take a course or read books about growing your business. That's all the third plane of existence. And then we get to the more interesting ones for me, the more exciting ones, which are the higher planes. The fourth plane of existence is the first spiritual realm, where you have your spirit guides, where you can communicate with your ancestors. We connect with the spirits from plant medicine. That's where negative entities reside as well. There are beneficial, helpful guides, supportive entities, and then there actually are these negative entities as well. Some people call them demons, wayward spirits. These are things that I work with a lot in my clients. It's not as scary as it sounds, but they are real. How can you heal with the fourth plane of existence? Well, for one, you can call in spirit guides to guide you. I have a financial spirit guide. I have a spirit guide related to my relationship with time. You can connect with your ancestors as well to answer questions and get guidance from them. Oh my God, I have a great little story about my mom. I was getting married. We did this small courthouse wedding in Santa Barbara, and this crazy thing happened. We were staying at this little hotel in Santa Barbara that was haunted. We didn't know it was haunted until we got there, but my wife, Cambria, she's always picks up on when a place is haunted. So the moment when we got there, she was like, this place is haunted. There's a woman with a white dress, without knowing anything. And then as we started befriending the people that work there, there really is this woman with the white dress that people keep seeing, as well as this little kid, this little boy, and stories of the kitchen staff seeing pieces of paper being thrown off the refrigerator magnet or off the table. So that's kind of the backstory. But the day we were getting married, we were waiting for our appointment. We had put the rings in a box inside another box and put them on top of the bed. My wife, Camry, was getting ready in the room. And when everybody's like, okay, it's time to go, let's grab the rings and go walk to the courthouse, they opened up the box and the rings were gone. Didn't make any sense. Nobody had touched it. The TV that nobody had used behind this cabinet door turned on. We didn't think anything of it at the time. We thought maybe somebody had accidentally sat on the remote. But my mom, her mom, and her, they were all late scavenging, trying to figure out where the ring was. And so my mom, the reason why I'm telling this story is because my mom sat down on the couch in the room. She closed her eyes and she prayed to her mom, my grandmother. And she said, Nana, please send me guidance. Please help me. Please show us where the ring is. And my mom, straight from that prayer to her mom, reached under the bed and not even seeing anything, just reached under the bed and felt the little ring box under the bed, pulled it out, and the ring was in there. So we found the ring. Doesn't make any sense how that ring was under the bed. The only explanation that we can think of is that little boy ghost had played a trick on us and turned on the TV behind the cabinet, distracted everybody, and moved the ring under the bed. I mean, there's really no other explanation how it was there. That's our fun little ghost story. By the way, ghosts, or wayward spirits as they're called in theta healing, are fourth dimensional souls or beings that are stuck in the third plane of existence. So they're here, but sometimes they don't know they're here, or they have unfinished business and they haven't gone into the light, so to speak. Often they are just normal, regular people that haven't fully crossed over. They're fourth plane spirits that are stuck here in the third plane. I share all this because my mom used the fourth plane of existence to solve this problem by connecting to her mom who'd passed away. And if you're struggling with a financial challenge, let's say, you can call in spirit guides, which are different than guardian angels, to help you with that. And as I shared, I have a financial spirit guide. They're spirit guides because they're not really with you for your whole life, as opposed to guardian angels that you have your whole life. Spirit guides help serve a specific purpose. So I've called in this financial spirit guide and I've asked it, what should I do with my investments? What would be the best way for me to create financial freedom and stability? And I've been getting answers. I've been validated by it over time. The guidance that I've gotten has been really helpful. Now, the fifth plane of existence, this is where your higher self might exist, the part of you that straddles between your soul and knows what you are meant to learn in this lifetime. The higher self is often in the fifth plane of existence, but also this is where your guardian angels are that I mentioned, and this is where the ascended masters are. So if you pray to Jesus, Muhammad, or Buddha, that is where they shine their love down on us. That's where we can get our questions answered by them. When you seek solution, seek solace or relief from Jesus, you're getting it from the fifth plane of existence. On the negative side, if you're curious about negative entities like demons, or the devil, or Satan, a lot of those negative entities are on the fourth plane of existence. And again, each plane is not one dimension. There's an infinite number of dimensions. There's higher and lower. Most of those negative entities are like the lowest level of the fourth plane. Satan, he's on the fifth plane of existence. And so the kind of lore that now makes more sense to me after knowing this framework is Satan was a fallen angel, like all the other angels, like Archangel Michael that people communicate with and many others, who now plays a new role that's more awakening the negative, to play the contrast, the yin to the yang of the light. He's representing the darkness. And there are other entities as well that are on the fifth plane of existence that unfortunately some people do pray to. Dark magic or black magic, that does exist. If you're curious about that, let me know. And it's very edgy for me to talk about because it's a new topic for me to talk about publicly, I guess. But I'm very interested in how all that works as well. There's different entities called Baphomet, not just the devil himself, that are really not to be feared, but you can't really know the light unless you understand the darkness, at least to a certain extent. I want to take a moment here because part of why I started this podcast was to share things that I love. And one of those things is New Brew. New Brew is my number one favorite drink. And I don't know if you know this, but I don't drink alcohol. I stopped drinking over 7 years ago. And for a while, I was seeking something to do in social scenarios where you're supposed to drink, when all you're really going to do is talk to people. And so this became my go-to social drink. I love it because it has both kava and kratom. Kava is a root that has been used for centuries in the South Pacific. It gives you feelings of connection with others. And then kratom, that's an East Asian leaf that gives you feelings of euphoria. It boosts your mood and it's kind of stimulating. And so both of those together create this really powerful elixir that doesn't, for me, have the after effects of drinking. It also releases some background anxiety that I feel like sometimes I have in social situations. I just feel engaged, alert, attentive, feel good. And so it's just kind of my go-to drink. And the best part about it is I now have established a relationship with the company because I talk about it all the time. And so they gave me a code. They gave me the code Tommy, and you can use that for 25% off all your purchases on their website. Go ahead and check it out. Just know that you do want to drink responsibly because they do have some habit-forming properties. So be responsible, don't overdo it, and hope you enjoy New Brew. Then we get to the sixth plane of existence. These are the universal laws of the universe. How can the sixth plane of existence heal? Well, for example, many of us feel like time is against us. We feel like we're running out of time. Time, as one of the laws of the universe, feels like this antagonistic force. But you can communicate with the law of time. You can go into a meditative state and ask time for its support. You can even bend time. You can ask time, how can I have a better relationship with you? You can heal your relationship with time so that you feel like I have enough time. Time is on my side. I appreciate the time I have as opposed to feeling nostalgic or sad about the time that's passed or if my best years are behind me. So that's one great example of where you can, in a meditative state, go up into the laws of the universe and get guidance from them and heal with them. There's also the law of reciprocity that can allow you to shift your business energy. When we start a business, we're often really focused on what we're going to get. Like, how can we make more sales? How can we get more followers? How can we get more clients? How can we get more eyeballs, more customers? There's a lot of taking energy when it comes to business, and maybe even for friendships and relationships too. It's like, what am I getting from this guy? What am I getting from this relationship? Am I getting enough? And the law of reciprocity teaches us that if you focus more on giving what you want, if you want a healthy, loving relationship, are you giving love? If you want to be trusted in your relationship, are you trusting your partner? That's how you activate the law of reciprocity. This is also the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have others be done unto you. The more value you give freely, the more value you get back. For me, the way that I've run my coaching business that's gone really well is I offer this free breakthrough call, and it's a sacred experience. People cry on that call. People have insane breakthroughs. They'll be like, you helped me get to the bottom of something that took me 5 years with my therapist to figure out. And I offer that for free. I can't do it all day, every day, but I do it a few times a week. And by just showing up and giving massive value without restraint, I've been able to build a super successful, profitable, sustainable coaching business because the right people feel like, oh my gosh, this was so helpful. I've gotten so much from him. How can I reciprocate that? It just creates a good vibe. Then we get to the seventh plane of existence, that highest plane of existence, the energy of all that is, the energy of the creator of all that is, or God, if you like that term. When I go into the meditative state, it's like this pearly white light, this interconnected, infinite light. That is where miracles happen. That is where you can have instant shifts. This is the plane of existence a lot of energy healers access, like theta healing, for example. It's just the highest level of energy. When you connect to the seventh plane of existence, the guidance and the insights are the purest. The messages from it are often the fewest number of words that have the biggest impact. It might be like, you are loved, or it's time to shine. It's not going to be this complex message, but the downloads, the healing that you get from the seventh plane, that's the most powerful, actionable. In my work, what I do, I call it superconscious healing. I go up into that seventh plane of existence, and then I connect intuitively to that person, to the client, and I help them through the power, through the guidance of the seventh plane, get to the bottom of whatever challenge they're in. And so one thing I'd recommend if you're a coach, healer, or facilitator, let's say you're a plant medicine practitioner, or you do Reiki healing, or sound baths, or whatever, use those planes of existence, the second plane of existence with the ayahuasca, let's say. But when you go into your practice, I invite you to tap into the seventh plane of existence to support you. Go up into that pearly white light. And actually, I'm going to do a meditation with you before the end of this episode so that you can experience what it's like to travel through all the planes. Everybody kind of has their preference. My preference, my go-to planes of existence when I want to heal something or solve a problem are the second plane of existence. I love vitamins and supplements. It's my hobby, learning all the research around a new peptide, adaptogen, some type of solution through the plants and herbs. I will do an episode on all the vitamins and supplements I'm taking. I'm a huge, huge fan of using that to heal. There's a lot of people that say don't take supplements or just take a multivitamin. I have really strong opinions about this, and I take maybe 15 different supplements a day, and I change it up all the time. And then also my favorite is the seventh plane of existence. So I always, by default, every single day, I go up into that pearly white light. I connect to my higher power. That's where everything resets, and whatever the challenge is, I get the perfect answer. Now, you're going to prefer one or the other. You might prefer crystals. You might love essential oils. You might love pulling angel cards, tarot cards. It doesn't really matter, but I hope that so far you get this sense of which plane you are accessing and which one you kind of have this proclivity towards, the one that's your vibe. Now that you understand how they all can heal, this is where I get back to my main point of this episode, which is that all planes of existence can heal. And you might by default just be focusing on one. So many people, especially in America, they are only using Western medicine to try to heal their obesity, anxiety, OCD, and they're taking pharmaceuticals. They're going to their psychiatrist. They're just working on the third plane of existence, and they are not getting the nutritional support from the first and second planes, or they're not getting the spiritual support to work on their anxiety and the traumas they experienced from the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh planes. So if you've been trying to solve a problem and maybe you've just been using one or two planes of existence, and maybe you can expand your horizons and say, wait a second, when was the last time I went to a functional medicine doctor and figured out what nutraceuticals or supplements I could take to support me with my blood pressure before I go on the statins or Lipitor? I'm going to give you a couple of real life examples how to apply multiple planes of existence, and then we'll do a meditation. So let's say there's something wrong with your body. From the first plane of existence, you might take magnesium to help with muscle soreness or your sleep disturbances. And you'll also maybe take an herbal tea with chamomile. Maybe you're feeling this way because you've been overworking, burning the candle at both ends. So using the third plane of existence to do reframes, to tell yourself, I deserve to rest, or listening to a meditation from some facilitator that's giving you affirmations like, I deserve to rest. That's coming from the third plane. Maybe you also go into prayer and you pray to God and you just witness clearing this unworthiness that you have and releasing the fear of being seen as lazy so that you can feel safer taking care of yourself. Let's say you have financial challenges. You are struggling with cash flow and are in debt. Well, you can use the third plane of existence to hire an accountant or bookkeeper, someone to help you track your finances. You can download a bunch of apps to figure out what you're spending. The third plane of existence is really great for budgeting and strategy or getting a coach. You can also go into a meditation and connect to the fourth plane of existence, where your ancestors experienced certain wounds around scarcity. Many of us experience money blocks because of our parents and their parents. You can use the fourth plane to heal this feeling of lack that was modeled for you and that you can put a stop to. You can also connect to the sixth plane of existence, to the law of abundance, which is one of the highest, most beautiful laws, the truth of abundance, and feel abundant and use the law of abundance to tap into that higher truth that you are already abundant and to see the abundance around you so you can manifest it in more financial ways. Or you can connect to the seventh plane of existence and download new beliefs like, I deserve wealth. I deserve to be financially free. That's how you can use the multiple planes to solve one problem. If you have a problem with spiritual growth, maybe you feel disconnected from source or purposelessness. Second plane of existence, you can do plant medicine, mushrooms. I've had some of my biggest breakthroughs releasing fears and anxiety through taking medicinal mushrooms. You can access the fifth plane, speak to your guardian angels and get help from them. You can also then have that direct union with source, connect to source itself and figure out why you've been feeling disconnected with it. And the examples go on and on. I can give so many. But I think practically, now that you know how this all works, I just invite you to be asking yourself, now that you have this framework in mind, which plane would be most helpful here? And if you're in doubt, just use the seventh plane. If you're in doubt, just go into a meditative state, access that infinite pearly white light, and you'll get the answer. We're going to do a meditation now where I'm going to guide you through the planes. It's a visualization, something I do every day. This is the type of meditation I do with superconscious healing, where I bring clients into this state. We go up into the pearly white light through all the planes of existence, and then we heal whatever money block, subconscious self-sabotage, anxiety, fear, whatever they're dealing with. And I'm going to give you the tools here to go into that state as well. Because as you've been listening to this episode, you might be like, okay, yeah, I guess I can heal with these planes, but how do I get there? How do I communicate with the law of abundance? How do I communicate with the law of time? How do I communicate with my higher power? We're going to do it here together, so you don't need to wonder. Ready? Cool. Unless you're driving, go ahead and close your eyes and get comfortable. Just take a deep breath in through the nose, into the belly and the back. And let it all out the mouth with a sigh. Second inhale, deeper and slower than before, all the way in. And all the way out. Last one, slower and deeper still, full inhale. And let it all out. And back to regular breathing, just bring your attention to your heartbeat in the center of your chest. And see if you can settle your mind enough until you can actually feel your heartbeat. This heartbeat that you didn't need to earn or win or accomplish anything to get. You didn't need to work to be worthy of it or prove that you deserved it or put in any effort to get it. It was just a gift, a pure gift, the gift of life. And when you can allow yourself to feel a sense of love and gratitude in your heart for that heartbeat, for that gift of life, just imagine sending that energy down your whole body, out the bottom of your feet, deep into the earth, down, down, down into the core, center of the earth. Feeling that 10 trillion tons of support. Every single step you've ever taken, every single mistake, every single delay, every single time you fell and got back up again, the earth has been there beneath you, supporting you, propping you up. And when you can feel that grounding, loving energy at the core of Mother Earth, just imagine bringing that all the way back up again, up, up, up into your body, from the bottom of your feet all the way up to the top of your head. Imagine all of your chakras, all of your energy centers blossoming open and balancing like beautiful flowers, and coming out the top of your head into a bright ball of light. Just imagine what color or colors that ball of light is, and get inside of it and shoot up into the sky, through the roof, past the clouds, beyond the stars, beyond the universe itself, past many shimmering rays of light. This is the fourth plane of existence. Past this golden band where the fifth plane resides, and your angels and ascended masters, into this iridescent jelly-like substance, the sixth plane, with this pink cloud. This is called the pink cloud of compassion. And just see if you can feel a sense of compassion as you pass through it. Compassion for yourself. Compassion for mistakes you feel you've made. compassion for the part of you that forgets to connect to all the aspects of existence. And as we go higher now, towards and into that pearly white iridescent light, higher and higher into this light, as high as you can go, until it feels like infinity in all directions. You can just let your bubble dissolve and take a deep breath in. Imagine that pearly white light, that energy of all that is, entering each and every cell of your body, including into your mind, including into your gut, including into your heart. And now that you are connected to all 7 planes of existence, you can end the meditation here, but what I recommend is think of a question or a dilemma, a challenge that you're having. And in this state, just ask, which plane of existence has the best solution for me? Thank you. Show me. And you'll just sit back with a blank mind's eye, and you'll notice that a number comes up, a number between 1 and 7. Don't doubt it. Don't resist it. Just notice, just trust that it's coming from that energy of all that is, and use that insight to heal, to move forward, and to feel better. Thank you so much.